Hey, friends and family, this is SP News Nugget, and today we are talking about the Maleah Davis case. Yes, again, today. And we're going to talk about how one of the guests that was at Maleah's funeral, Britney, personally invited one news reporter, but she did not want cameras. So the news reporter is giving us a highlight of the obituary in the funeral and her take into it. Now, you guys, it seems like she's pro Britney. Yeah, she kind of trying to act like she's not, but I believe she is, or Britney wouldn't have invited her, you know. So I just wanted to share it with you guys because I know some of you guys have not seen this. But she does read off a couple of paragraphs, and we're going to get into that on the other side. So I need you to stay with me. But first of all, I want to thank you guys for subscribing to the channel, and those of you that have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. And then there's a bell right beside there. Click for the bell for notification. So when we upload a video, you will get it also. Now down below, if you stroll down below, there is a comment section. Leave a comment down there because that's how we communicate. And we communicate with each other also. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video or thumbs down if you don't like the video. Okay, you guys, here we go on the other side. Okay, you guys, we are talking about the Maleah Davis case, and this is the young lady, the only reporter that was actually asked and requested to come to or to go to Maleah Davis' funeral. But there was a little bit of some rules that Britney has set up that she did ask and request for her to come. Her name is Stefani, and she was not to bring cameras, but Brittany wanted her to attend the funeral. So I'm listening to this young lady, and she seems to be a little bit more on Brittany's side. But I can understand that there has not been any evidence that Brittany has done something wrong. But Brittany's trying to collaborate a type of team together that's all gung-ho for Brittany and to put out only the best or the words Brittany wants to put out. But anyway, you guys, you got to listening to this clip. You got to listen to this clip, okay? So I'm going to share that with you guys, and then, we can talk about it in the comment area down below. If you are agreeing with what this reporter is saying, hey, let me know about it. If you don't, let me know about it. Because she's seeming to act like she's got a connection with Maleah, and she's seeming like she's got a connection with Britney, and Darian is just this bad person because that's the only evidence. Sometimes there's evidence that you don't see. But I know that being a reporter, you're supposed to report just on the facts or evidence. But some evidence is you don't see it. You already see in the history of it. And that is where this young lady, being young as she is, cannot understand. She doesn't have kids. So I understand why she can't really grasp what we see. But you guys, here we go. Let me drop that clip for you.
Because you have been very invested in this case for Maleah Davis, and her life and again her case has really captured a lot of people's hearts around the city and even the country. So from the beginning, you covered her when she went missing, right?
Yeah, that was day one. I remember that, very, very vividly. That was Sunday, May 5th. When police sent out that Amber Alert, we saw this beautiful young girl, and we heard a weird, odd story that was coming from her then stepfather, Darion Vance, about this alleged abduction where three guys pulled over, hit him on the head, said Maleah looks really sweet, kidnapped them, and then more than 24 hours later he shows up at a hospital without his stepdaughter, Maleah, and only his young son. And from then on, police did this press conference. They brought in a photo of Darion Vance. They brought in a photo of the car, and it was so very odd. You hadn't really heard of a story like this before. And it's funny that you talk about like covering it since day one. I was thinking about the other day, like just the amount of things that have kind of transpired since this started to unfold, the amount of twists and turns that we've seen. A week later he ends up behind bars, and at that point is when we learned Maleah Davis is no longer alive, right? Because he's charged with tampering with a corpse, a dead body, and police believe he did something with her body. And just over time, the kind of things that were emerging from sources, the photos, I think what really captivated so many people about this story was just the simple fact that how it started, right? It wasn't just a missing child. It was a missing child with a very elaborate story that ended up being a lie, and it took several weeks and days to kind of see all of these new things surface.
And as a reporter, though, as a journalist, we can only report the facts, obviously.
Exactly.
But when there are all this other information coming through, I mean, walk us through, as a journalist, what we have to do to be accurate and make sure that what we're saying is what we can only report.
Right, exactly. And I'm glad you asked that question, because with this story, there are a lot of emotions involved. There is a humongous court of public opinion that has all these thoughts about this and that. And with this story, we saw a lot of accusations surface. You heard accusations from a community activist who said that she was being sexually abused and physically abused as well. You heard from people who would, put claims out there that the mother knew where she was, the mother knew what happened to her. But what we had to do was separate that, give everyone equal playing ground, to talk to who we can about this and get their side of the story, because after all, that's what we do. We give a voice to people, right? So the facts of the case, they were coming out, slowly, and that's what we had to hold on to report. And I think at certain points it kind of frustrated people. Why are you
right?
Yeah, people ask me, why are you sitting down with the mom? The mom should be in jail. Brittany Bowens, lock her up. But at the end of the day, Brittany Bowens, is a mother, a grieving mother, and at this point forward, police were telling us that she was cooperating with their investigation. And the facts that we had to go on was that police said that Darion Vance was the last person seen with Maleah Davis. Police said that Darion Vance, brought her into the house. Police say Darion Vance is the suspect now. So it's like all of these facts and, having to separate it. You've seen the comments on this story. And it's just, you have to kind of find that divide. It's okay to listen to what people have to say, to hear their opinions, but it's not our job to convict, bad parents or, people who are perceived as bad parents.
In your time on this case, your personal time, just time not even at work covering the story, I mean, that goes, you've just put so much into it, even building relationships with the family. And that's why you were the only member of the media invited to the funeral.
Yeah.
Talk about that feeling, and that's part of your job too, right? As a journalist, and even though you've kind of taken a personal tone to you.
Yeah, it has. And I think what has really connected me to the story and the family is treating them with dignity and respect as the facts come out. When the facts came out that Darion Vance, was charged, Darion Vance is now a suspect and he needed to be held accountable. But before that, we could ask him the tough questions about, validating his story, but you can't really, it's not our job to put someone, on the chair and kind of question them as if we're detectives. So, wait, go back to your question again.
Just.
Oh, yeah. So, getting it personal. So, I think that the reason, or the way I was able to develop, a relationship with them is also not letting the story go. I mean, I was checking in on this story, and I've been checking in on this story every single day with the mother, with the biological father, with grandmother, and it's not every day that they respond, because it's like, people are busy with their own lives, but when someone gets a sense that, like, you care, and it's not just for your personal gain, and it's not just for the clicks, but it's because you really want to know what happened to this beautiful young girl, and you feel like you can make a difference in that, then I think that's really what helps you kind of connect to the story. It's not just, hey, can I grab this interview with you? Do you have a statement? But, hey, how are you doing? Hey, what's going on? And I think that's what is really important about journalism, is having a humanizing people and making them feel like they matter, because they do.
But that must be hard, because you have a job to do.
Right.
And when you have a different type of connection with these people that are part of this high-profile case.
Right.
I mean, it might be hard to separate that. And, but how do you do that?
It is.
As a journalist, how do you do that?
It is extremely difficult, because in a sense you have to make sure that you're still being, I'm trying to find the right way to put it. You have to be professional, you have to be fair, but as a journalist, if you think about, like, what our role is, our job to tell stories, and our job to give a voice to people, that requires making a connection with someone, on a personal level. It doesn't mean I'm here to give legal advice, or I'm here to go over at night and and console you, but you can offer these things because we're humans at the end of the day, right? So, and it's the same thing as a police officer, right? They need to make arrests, they need to hold people accountable, but at the end, they have to treat people, like humans. And I think you just have to think about it, like, in a sense, like, I'm being myself, I'm treating someone how I would want to get treated if my daughter was missing for a month, so it's not really a matter of separating it, but it's a matter of knowing that, like, this is a part of your job. This is a part of your job to care about the community, to care about the children, to care about families who are going through tough things and need a platform to let people know their story.
When you were invited to the funeral, how did that go? I mean, it was the mom reached out, and then it's described what happened today.
Yeah, well, she told me, she said, this was, several weeks back, or a couple of weeks ago, she said, I want you at the funeral, no cameras. And I had to talk to, my boss about it, because, it's, you just never, I've never been in a situation like this, to be, quite honest. I've been to funerals to cover them, but someone's asking you to come, like, as a guest, I had to ask myself, just to be honest, like, was this unprofessional? Does this mean that, like, but the truth of the matter is that they feel they know that I am connected to the story. How everyone, you said to yourself, I feel, I'm a mother, like, I'm not a mom, but this little girl, like, I see parts of me in her, I see parts of, my nieces in her, and, like, close friends and their children. So I think the mom knew that I cared, and I do care, and I think that she thought that it would be an honor to come to her funeral, because thousands of people obviously wanted to go. Imagine if this thing was public. So to invite someone who has been invested in this story, who has never forgotten about you, who has never treated you, with anything less than respect, who has, asked you, the questions that needed to be asked, but has also, given you that same level of respect, for me, it was just, it kind of made me feel like I've been doing my job right. It didn't make me feel like, oh, okay, well, you've been taking it easy on me, so let me invite you. It was just, okay, well, this is someone who I know cares about Maleah. She sees my posts on Facebook. I've posted about her, sometimes every day in a week, even if there was nothing new, just so, people remember her face. So I think she knows that I was connected to this, and this is something that I wanted to see, whether it was for work purposes, or whether it was just to go honor this beautiful little girl who has captivated the hearts of really the world. Yeah.
And then again, the funeral service, the program was very emotional. Just
It was.
Through it, when you read it. I mean, when I read it, I have two kids, and that was something that I've never seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. And I've, here, this is the program here, and It is bright. I've never seen, a program like this. And even, with the tragic death of Jasmine Barnes, she had a beautiful pink program, but I think that the way that they did this program, you open up to the first page and it has a letter, from Maleah Davis. And when I read it, the first paragraph, I had to close it. Because it's something like, I am a journalist at the end of the day, so it's like, I have to keep it together, and it's like, I cried at the funeral, but I didn't want to cry, too much, because it's like, there are people who are connected to her on a very deep, like, a level, that's real, who know her, but the program is just, I mean, you read this letter that's written as if it came from Maleah, and you realize this was a little girl who just loved life, loved everything about it, enjoyed the things that your daughter enjoys, that my daughter would enjoy if I had one, and was pure innocence. And I think that's what's, like, really heartbreaking about it, because then you're looking at the casket ahead, and then you see letters from mom and dad and, people who loved her and just honoring her in, like, the best way possible, and even letters from, like, her little brothers, and who obviously can't write, but it's just, she should still be here. Yeah, yeah. So I think what really stuck out to me was the second paragraph. As Maleah would have said, at only 4 years old, I enjoyed school. I left all my friends at Attitude, Respect, and Manners Daycare. I would eagerly make new friends so that we could sing and laugh together every day. All my friends knew my favorite color was pink, and that I had a special pink blanket at school that I would always hold and dance with. One of my favorite songs, Baby Shark, filled me with joy, and I would get up and twirl around in my tutu while singing. And the reason that that was, like, really emotional is because that last image of her going into the house, she wore a tutu, and it was a pink tutu, and that image, like, you see everything that a young child is in that image. So I'm gonna try to get through the rest of it. Twirl around in my pink tutu, singing "Baby Shark doo doo da doo 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 doo." After school, I came home and played with my brothers. I never missed a chance to get in front of the camera and pose for a picture with them. We laughed and giggled all the time. My mom would take pictures of us, and when I was with my dad, he was always filming me and my brother playing and acting silly together. Those were good times. And you read this, and then you look back at the photos and the videos that her dad has shared on his Instagram, the photos and the videos that her mother has shared with me, and you see that this was really this girl's life, and you wonder what went wrong. Because, I'm going to offer my opinion right now. I believe that this little girl was very loved. Very, very loved. And I think a lot of people may disagree because of what happened. And I think that this is terrible what happened, but it is very clear that she was loved. So just that pink tutu, just really symbolic, and for it to go in here, I mean, this really sounds like it came from a 4-year-old little girl who loved life. She said, I will always and forever hug and sing with all my cousins and friends. I love you. I loved life. Thank you for loving me. Rainbows and kisses, Maleah. So, and I mean, everything in here is just, she talked about her little brothers, Carson and Cortland, and her baby sister, and it's sad. Yeah, it's very sad, because this is shouldn't be a program for a funeral. It shouldn't be a funeral, so.
Okay, you guys. I want you guys to comment down below in the comment area. What do you think about this interview that they did, willingly, when, after the funeral, where she's sharing the obituary. When I thank her, I thank her very much for sharing that with us, because, the public that was not invited, it was kind of like, like a, and I understand why, because majority of the public don't believe Britney. They think that she's a disgrace. And I truly understand that. But this only reporter that was invited to the funeral without cameras was invited by Britney, and there's a reason why. It's not because you you didn't, you gave her respect. It's because you kind of believe Britney. So that's how that works, you guys. So anyway, tell me down below what you think about this interview, and we'll discuss it on another day. And you guys, I've got other videos that I've got to get out today, so be looking for them. There is some breaking news on some really bad stuff that's going on. One situation is with the Maleah case with Britney, and then there's some other things that I've got to report on. So you guys give me some time today, and I'll start getting them out there. I think it's about 3 of them. So anyway, you guys, be good, be safe, and be nice to each other.